Welcome, Rawheads. This is Jesse with another episode of Raw and Roasted. Now, the last couple times we've had our podcast, we kind of didn't have like an intro. We just kind of rolled into it. But some things have happened in the previous week and a half, and stuff like that while I've been sick. So, one thing is that we no longer have two co-hosts. It's just going to be me from now on and guests every week. But Mark sends his apologies for not being able to stay on. He just had too much of other stuff in his life going on, so me and him just had to part ways. But best of luck to him. But today we got a special guest. It's actually a good friend of mine from high school. His name is Ryan. And what do you do for work right now?
So I'm a chimney sweep.
So
we can get into
that's
that.
interesting. Yeah, that's interesting. Oh, so with chimney sweeping, because when you hear chimney sweeping, you think of like Mary Poppins. What? So, because I've seen you post pictures on like Facebook of you and your brother. Does your brother work with you?
Yeah, he just started working with us this year. But yeah, chimney sweeping is one of those rare things you don't hear about a lot. You know, it's one of those jobs.
And I mean, I do have, my parents did have a chimney, but we never used it or anything like that. It wasn't one of the ones that like you could actually use. It was just like kind of like decoration and stuff like that. I guess there's like a few around here like that. But when did you start that?
This is my fourth year, maybe fifth. I was working as a martial arts instructor for a while, and then got out of that and was looking for something else to do that I knew through martial arts. His brother has this chimney sweeping company, and so the person I knew through martial arts approached me and said, "Hey, you know, do you want to come try chimney sweeping? My brother's looking for a new chimney sweep." And I said, "Absolutely not. That sounds horrible." It's
Same thing I would have said.
It sounds like a really dirty, hard job. And one thing led to another, and I decided to give it a try. And it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. So my boss now, he sent me off to Indiana, where there's a chimney school out there where you can get certified as a chimney technician.
Oh, no shit.
Yep. It's called the CSIA out in Indiana.
So is it considered like a trade job then, I'm guessing?
Yeah, it is a trade. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. The thing about chimney sweeping, though, it's not like plumbing or electricians or anything like that. And the reason why it's not is for a lot of trades, you have to do X amount of years to get a journeyman, you know,
Right.
and so on and so forth. When anybody could open a chimney sweeping company, like if you wanted to tomorrow, you could go and you could open up your own company. But so that's why when it comes to like chimney sweeping, if you have something that you need done with your chimney, it's really important to find a company that's certified, and that's like the people that go out to the school and get that certification.
And what company do you work for?
Expert Chimney Services.
Are they based out of
Yeah, we're right up on Velasco's Pizza.
Yeah.
We're like literally the next store over from Velasco's Pizza.
Oh, okay.
So like on Madigan Hill.
All right. Let's check some reviews, eh? Let's see.
There's some good ones on there. Let's read some reviews.
Newest. All right. 3 days ago, we called Expert Chimney Service and we were pleasantly surprised with great service. From the first call to the finishing of the service, two younger gentlemen were very professional and knowledgeable. I'm guessing that was you and, yep, Ryan and Dylan. Yep. Says it right here.
Yep.
Look at that.
It would have been funny if you read the first review as, "This chimney company sucks."
Yeah, I know.
Or hire them.
So, funny, speaking about reviews, recently, so one thing I do every week is I have two meetings. One is with just my team, which is like the general area of like district sales leads that are from here to Ohio. And then there's a bigger one that is everybody in the country. But the smaller one, we always do this. We started to do this thing at the end where basically we like just kind of brainstorm ideas that can help like fix problems that we're having in our store. Now, one thing that a few people have problems with is getting people trained in their stores because people's either attitudes or like other different obstacles that they've had to go through. But one of the things is that the one person said that their management from their stores and stuff like that wasn't giving them any help. Like basically they actually got mad at them for trying to train one of their associates once and said that if you ever try and do that when they're at the register again, you're out of the store. And when I heard that, I immediately said, I raised my hand and I was like, first of all, I was like, that is not right. I was like, first of all, you're doing your job and he needs to back the F off. I know like we don't want to be overly aggressive, but when it comes to certain things, you guys got to stand your ground. And one thing that you guys can do is for those stores that where your management's like, no, we don't need to do training, or they're just refusing to do that, or whatever they said, it's not applicable to help us with sales. Well, go to your reviews for those stores and check them out, and then find the worst one that's happened recently, and then screenshot that, and then bring that up to them and use that as ammunition. Later that day, I get a text from this girl, Arush, who's in our group, and she found a review for one of her Best Buys, and it goes, I went to Best Buy to buy an Apple Watch, and I was willing to spend as much money as I needed to get it. I asked politely at the front end where the Apple Watches were, waited some more, as the manager and the 3 and 4 other associates that were up front playing with a dog, yes, I said it, playing with a dog, instead of helping me. I immediately left and went to Target, where they were gladly happy to sell me an Apple Watch and answer all the questions that I had and take my money or whatever. It was like the perfect sign of like ammunition. I was like, that's exactly what you need. But yeah, dude, reviews can be powerful, especially nowadays. I mean, back 10, 15 years ago, Yelp wasn't huge and stuff like that. But now, I mean, people get paid to review.
It's crazy how there's no like valid, like nobody has to be you don't have to be any kind of special person to leave a review about a company or a business. So there are some people that like they probably had like an average time. Maybe their waitress was not as attentive as she needed to be, but they'll leave a 1-star review and say how bad the service was. And like we deal with that as a company. Like sometimes we'll get a 1-star review because maybe they left a message on our machine and they needed a chimney inspection, and it slipped through our fingers. We didn't call them back, and they'll go on Google reviews and they'll leave a 1-star review. Oh,
the Karens of the world.
Yeah, exactly. And like, it's so rare to see a company with like all 5-star reviews, because even if they're an outstanding company, there's still going to be those few people.
Yeah, I mean, like, let's see, one company that I can think of that would pay like illegal money to like wash the web of bad reviews would be Apple. So I just want to see. Apple is very, well, not just anal about their technology, but you have to, I mean, just to be a genius, you have to go through like 12 interviews or something like that.
No kidding.
Which is ridiculous. Yeah, the only reason I know that is because I had 2 older counselors at Lord's that just so happened to be geniuses at the Apple store up there or whatever, and they told me about the process, and they said it was the most tenuous interview process that they've ever had to go through. So this one's interesting. So Apple Valley. So this is from the Apple Valley Fair in Santa Clara, California. Avoid an employee named Carla. Not sure if she gave us the real name. She was rude as F and gave us side eyes and everything when we asked questions. She doesn't even deserve the job to begin with. Oh wait, there's more. The hell? Why did I just do that? There you go. It went down to here. She doesn't just. Oh, just that was the end. I don't know why. Okay, let's see another one. These bozos love to waste your time. Not too concerned with their own since they are on the clock either way. I'm not a fan of making it an important meeting whether nothing was done in preparation for the consumer. I did my part in well advance by backing up my iPhone and running diags. My iPhone 14 Max has serious physical damage from a fall, and Apple associate indicated my phone was even bent. He suggested we use Apple Care plan to replace it, but he didn't have my phone in stock. Then he located one in San Francisco. Well, minutes later, he decided it didn't need to be replaced. It only needed to be repaired, but they didn't have the part in stock. He suggested I go to another Apple retail store that likely had the part. Also, the phone in the case, it wasn't the part. So now I have to race around 55-mile radius because the not so genius guy from the Genius Bar can't think of placing an order for me. Okay. That actually just
it's like, who has time? Who has the time in their daily life to be like, I have to stop what I'm doing and write a terrible review?
That's one thing that I always think about.
It's
like the reviews at the bottom.
It's not that big of a deal if Apple tells you to go to a different store. It's not. Like, you're so mad. How mad do you have to be like, I'm leaving a bad review?
I get the frustration, actually.
Okay, let me ask you. Have you ever left a bad review?
No,
like you've had to.
I don't think I've ever done to like an actual like store or anything. No, I don't think I've ever done to an establishment. I think No, you want to know the only thing I've ever done like that was like when Geico decided that the other person wasn't at fault for the accident that I was in a long time ago when they ran a stop sign or a stoplight and I had to go away. It made no sense what the outcome came to be, and I called them back and I literally just screamed my fucking head off at them and I said I will never be with you guys again. You guys are fucking disgraceful.
Yeah.
But when she's talking about like not having parts and stuff like that and then not having another thing and stuff when like you're at a place where they should have that stuff, for instance, recently I had to get an oil change, right? And I went to Monroe Muffler in Fairmount.
Hmm.
I went there, and how long do you think an oil change takes?
Say I would expect to be in and out within probably a half hour.
Okay, I was in there for an hour and 45 minutes.
That's a long time.
Not to mention that I had to pick my wife up from work, so I ended up being late, and then she had to wait outside for me for like 30 minutes. But they took all that time, and while they're taking all this time and stuff like that, I see they took like 25 minutes to pull my car actually into the garage. Then when they got it into the garage, it took them like another 10 minutes to even touch the thing. Then a DoorDash driver or Grubhub or whatever the hell it was shows up with their food. They grab their food, and then I see them through the window because you can see through the window, and they're just sitting there eating and stuff like that. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And then finally, like 45 to like 50 minutes later, he comes out and he's like, all right, now we're just gonna he's just checking the tires to make sure there's no like leaks or anything. And I was like okay. And he was like, then we're gonna replace the oil and then you'll be good to go. And I was like, okay. He goes back in there. 2 minutes later, he comes back out and he says, we're out of the oil that your car needs. What? Okay. And now he has to make an order, and I'm like, well, when is it gonna be here? And he's like, it'll be here soon. Then it took another like 30 minutes after that for the dude to arrive there with the oil. And then it took like another 20 minutes for them to fucking put it in. So I was very frustrated by the time I left that place. I will never go to that establishment again.
Hmm.
Everybody, Monroe Muffler and Fairmount fucking sucks, and they do not know what they're doing because one, oil change from Monroe Muffler has always been $30. Always been. When I went there and got my stuff done recently, it was $90. No, that was nothing about inflation, bro. I read the fucking receipt and it was like
Oh, they got you a
uh,
bunch of stuff.
yeah, it has something to do with my tires or something. I was like, I was like, that's the last time I asked you to check my tires. But yeah. So I can understand people's frustration. Plus, I mean, I deal with consumer. So you're a little, I guess, I wouldn't say more lucky, but like you deal with the people face to face less. You only deal with them like at the beginning of the visit, probably, and the end of the visit, and then in between, you really don't see them.
Depends. Some people like to just watch the whole process, you know. But
Oh,
for the
really?
most part, the interactions mainly in the beginning and the end, for sure. But it's also
S
different because there's not much expectation for a chimney inspection and cleaning. You know, it's like if you clean the chimney and you don't make a mess everywhere, like usually the customers are pretty satisfied. You know,
I would think it would be pretty
where it's like the food
difficult to keep it
service,
clean.
it is. There's definitely there's been times, you know, where there's harder jobs than others, but um, it's just different from like a trade is like a there you have an objective, a task, and as long as you do that task and you don't make a mess, the customer's usually pretty happy. But like other services like the food industry, I mean, you could forget somebody's pickles on a sandwich and they're gonna lose their shit.
So speaking of the food industry, McDonald's, right? There's a secret menu, like everybody knows about like the secret menu at all fast food places. Like every fast food place has a secret menu of like items that you can create. Well, there's one that I always create, and I go to the same McDonald's, like I mean the same two McDonald's all the times. I get frustrated when after like the 20th time I still have to explain how for them to do their job because that when I tell them I want a Big Mac, but I want it without the meat and with McChicken meat instead.
Yeah.
The amount of so it's three responses I get. One, okay, give me 1 second. And then it takes them a second, and then they're like, all right, do you need anything else? And then the second one is, I need to go grab somebody. Give me 1 second. Or the third one, which is my least favorite, is when they tell me that you can't do it. So I want to say like a month ago, I got so mad I had to call my wife on the way home to like calm me down. because, well, it wasn't just McDonald's that pissed me off. It was the fact of the high school kids that were working there pissed me off. Because the bitch had an attitude that she did not need to have with me, especially at the end of my workday. I really didn't need it.
Yeah.
So I asked for my thing, right? And she's not the original person that I'm talking to. It's like another person that's taking my order, but she comes to help her. And she looks at it and she's puts it in, I guess, or whatever. And then she's like looking at the screen and she can't figure out like how to put the McChicken in the sandwich or something along the lines of that. And I haven't worked, first of all, I haven't worked at McDonald's in like a long ass time, and even I remember how to do it. All you do is ask me and just tell the person that's making the sandwich what to do. It's that simple. You don't need to put anything on the goddamn screen. You don't need to do anything. But they like to complicate things. Anyway, she's like, well, what we can do is we can give you like 2 chicken patties on the side and like take the meat off, but we can't put it on there. And I'm like, what? No, that's not what I want. Like, all you have to do is put it on there. And then she's like, well, there's not a way for us to do that on the screen. And I'm like, I'm sitting there, I'm like, what the hell? And then she's like, well, I got a lot of people in here. I don't have time to say this. Do you want it or not? And then that's what pissed me off when she said that, because that was like, you don't give a fuck about your job and you're just trying to push me out.
Well,
because
aren't the McChicken patties smaller than a Big Mac burger?
No, I mean,
a little bit, right? Because the McDouble patties are smaller than the Big Mac patties.
Well, no. So what I do is I have them switch both patties for McChicken. So there's 2 McChickens on there.
But it's not undersized in the bread.
No. It usually is leaking out from the side or whatever. But yeah. So food industry people can sometimes be awesome, but can sometimes be very terrible.
I heard that you were getting into stand up.
Yeah, I'm actually doing an open mic the 27th at what the hell is it called?
I'm gonna go see Creed that night. I would have totally been there.
THC at I think my time is 8:30. Yes, 8:30.
How long of a bit?
I think they're only doing 15-minute. I think when I looked at the thing, it's doing 15-minute. Well, so I mean, I got a lot of things already stocked up and stuff like that. Most of it is revolving around my kids and shit like that, and being a young dad, and also just the change in not vernacular, but the things that kids say to their parents nowadays compared to what we used to say to our parents for like randomness. Like the most random thing we would say is like, I ate dirt, or Billy picked his nose and ate it today, or something weird like that.
I don't know. I said some pretty crazy shit.
Okay, well, have you ever said this? Yeah, and mind you, my son is 5. Okay, he's 5. We're sitting there watching Grown Ups 2, and he's completely silent for like 30 minutes. Randomly, he just turns to me and he goes, "Hey, Dad, English or Spanish?" I go, "What?" He goes, "English or Spanish?" I go, "English." And he goes, "If you talk, you're gay. Or if you move, you're gay," or something like that. And nice. I looked at him, I go, first of all, don't ever say that to me again. Second of all, where the hell did you learn that? And then I turned to my wife and I go, "Did you just hear what he said?" And I tell her what he says. And I'm like, have you said that before? And she's like, "No."
Did you move though?
That's not the point. No. So yeah, like just things like that. That, and then like my kids will call me old, even though like compared to what parents, like our parents' age when we were that young and stuff like that, like I ain't fucking old, even though I feel old.
Yeah, I feel that, man. The years just keep on stacking. The reason I asked if you want, I'm also like, I have in my notes in my phone, I started writing some jokes for stand-up, but I would never be able to do 15 minutes. I feel like my first time, I'd want to just do like a 5-minute thing and just like get it out.
So that's usually how it goes. Like one thing I dream about, like if I ever get the chance, or if we ever are over in Texas, I want to do Kill Tony. Or if Kill Tony ever,
that would be awesome.
Because well, one, I absolutely love Tony Hinchcliffe. He is the fucking he is the best thing that's happened to comedy in a very fucking long time.
Top 3 comedians for you right now. Go.
Right now, well, okay, so are we going based off of like recent specials and stuff like that came out, or just in general?
If you were trapped on a deserted island and you could only bring a laptop with 3 comedians to work.
Okay. I'd have to say Bill Burr as
Okay.
one. I'd have to say there's probably gonna get some hate from people, but Chris D'Elia, I still love him and I still love
He's
his
one of my
comedy.
favorites for sure.
Yeah,
Awesome.
dude. I love his humor is my
Do, do,
fucking
do
humor.
you ever listen to his podcast? It's
Oh, dude, I listen to well, which one? Like the one just by himself or the one with
no, I like the one with his brother.
So I haven't seen the one with his brother. I watched the one with him and Brandon and what's his face? Forgot what it's the Golden Hour is what their
Yeah, yeah.
podcast is called. But yeah, Chris D'Elia, and then the third one, I'd have to say Adam Sandler.
Oh, stand-up comic?
Yeah, because I mean, Adam Sandler is getting back into stand-up comedy. I
I
mean, he just
heard
had that
that.
Netflix special and shit like
Yeah,
that,
I gotta watch that.
and he was just on Joe Rogan recently, and he was telling about that he he missed stand-up like a lot, and so he's just getting back into it and stuff like that. Like at first, it was kind of a fluke. He just asked somebody to like get him a couple of bookings and stuff like that, and then he ended up just booking him an entire tour. And
Mm.
so he ended up having to turn like 15 minutes into an hour, and then that's what like his Netflix special was. But yeah, I'd say Adam Sandler because I mean, with him, you not only get jokes, but you get music as well, you know? So it'd be nice on a desert island to get some music.
That's fair. That's fair.
Uh,
But Dave Chappelle, man, I like Dave Chappelle is the best of the best.
so, and again, this is gonna get a lot of hate from you. I'm not. No, I 100% believe Dave Chappelle is one of the greatest comedians. But me personally, I don't know why. I don't find him funny. Like I don't laugh at his jokes. Like I've watched his
Mm.
specials and I've not laughed through the entire thing. Like and then I can watch another comedian and I can laugh. Like I don't know. If it's just a weird thing. Like and I can't,
Not to
who?
just the other one that you didn't mention that I have to because he's one of the greatest, but Louis C.K.
Well, Louis C.K. Yes, Louis
It's
C.K.
so
is
funny how
great.
nobody likes him anymore though because of what happened. I get
Yeah,
it.
I get it too. You know, I mean, and
He has a
a
very
lot of people
dark.
that I liked
It's
growing
very
up
dark
have.
humor.
Yeah, and I mean, there's the whole thing with Chris D'Elia, and then my boy Danny Masterson, who went to prison now.
Yeah, that was
From
fucked up.
dude, like so many.
The new singer of Linkin Park. Do you hear about this? So
It's ringing a bell in my head.
Linkin Park got a new singer. So the band's like back together, and it's a girl singer. She's a great vocalist. He wishes that they didn't come back because like nobody will ever be able to replace Chester. But long story short, the singer of Linkin Park, I guess, writes to his name from that '70s show. You just said it. What's his name?
Oh, really?
She, I guess, writes to him in jail, and I guess she's getting a lot of like negative. These are all just things I've heard. I don't know how factual it is, but
Well, and to be fair for like Danny Masterson's whole thing, like I only read what the media put out there and stuff like that. Like we don't know of what the whole thing was and stuff like that and whatever.
well,
Granted,
I think he admitted to it though, so he probably definitely did rape
well,
girls.
no, no, no. So no, no, no.
You're gonna say, you just get out of law school?
Yeah, no, 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 no. But it's actually interesting. Like,
It sounds familiar for some reason.
he was the dude who painted the mural for Facebook and like made a bunch of shit
No,
ton of money.
doesn't ring a bell.
Well, he was on like Joe Rogan, like I don't know, like I want to say like a year or like year and a half ago, but he was talking about Chat GBT at the moment, and he was thinking he was about to do something like having to do something with court and some kind of like lawsuit or whatever, and instead of asking or like hiring a lawyer, just like for shits and gigs, he was like, let me ask Chat GBT, let me see. And so he asked it, got an answer back, and then he called his lawyer and then got his 2 cents about the same information that he had put into ChatGPT. And they said like almost verbatim like the same exact thing and stuff like that. And then he said he hung up and he said, "I'm never buying a lawyer again." He said, if that's as easy as that, like why need lawyers? Well, if we're just gonna have a where we can just ask it, lawyer questions and stuff like that, which is actually true. I mean, I've used it for immigration questions for my wife.
I was about to ask you, do you use it like regularly?
Well, yeah, at work, I mean, I use it on like a pretty daily basis as like
I use
demoing
it
it for
every
people,
day.
but I also use it for like my personal self, just for information and stuff, especially when it comes to the law of immigration, because they never taught us anything about that in school,
Yeah.
but not even close. And so learning all this stuff firsthand has been a whirlwind. But but
ChatGPT
yeah,
can just do anything. I don't remember the last time I Googled something,
well,
honestly.
the that's true. Yeah, I don't really. I think that you want to know what I think that's part of the point of like ChatGPT is to pull some of that search engine power away from them, because I mean Google itself is an AI engine. At least that's what like that's.
Yeah, I
I'm pretty
noticed
sure that's
that.
what I've heard.
But also, Google is paid so much through advertisements and different sponsors. Like whatever you're looking for on Google, I mean, whatever the top results are what they want you to see. You know, um,
That is true.
I feel like ChatGPT in a way. I mean, there's no way to know, but I feel like it's more. There's less of a horizon of like, oh, let me click this one, let me click this one, let me click this one. It's just like, here's the information. But there's been
Yeah.
times, I don't know if it's happened to you, like I'll ask ChatGPT something, and it will tell me, it'll answer, and I'll know that it's not right. Like I'll be like, it, like
Oh yeah, there's like yeah, like I'll every so often, because I mean it's again it's it's not perfect yet. The creator of ChatGPT said that the next version of ChatGPT is gonna be like 100 times like better. He said this is gonna be the dumbest version of ChatGPT that you guys will ever have to use ever again.
I really can't even comprehend it.
That's what
I
I'm
don't know
saying.
what else
Like,
it could do that it can't already do. What else do we need it for?
so one thing that was actually like brought up by a music artist that I had on recently, Navarro, he made a good point with AI, because we were talking about like with like deep fakes and stuff like that and the dangers of that and shit.
Mm.
But he mentioned that that also gives people plausible deniability too when it comes to politics, like especially for like things like audio recordings and things like that. They could just say that that's AI or that's altered or that's doctor or whatever. And I had never thought about that, but that does actually put politics into a dangerous area, especially with, I mean, politics is already corrupt. I mean, and with being giving them just another lifeline to use for corruption is scary, especially with the election coming up.
I'm
Have you
sure that.
been keeping up on that, like the debates and shit?
No, honestly, I haven't. I haven't really been paying attention to it. I probably should be because I'm an American citizen, but sometimes I just feel as though I have so many other things in my life that I'm focused on that it's like, where's the time and the effort to even jump into that?
Yeah, I feel the same way. Like I haven't like I've watched like I've seen like the things on like TikTok that pop up or like Facebook for like the debates. Really, the majority of what I get or where I get my information about the election is through podcasts of people talking about the stuff that they've saw in the news. Like
Mm-hmm.
I don't really like go myself and look at that shit, or nor is it in my like algorithm. That's another thing. Like my wife, her algorithm gets like news shit. Mine, I don't get any of that.
Yeah, and like you were saying, like we don't have to go down the whole conspiracy rabbit hole, but there's so many of them that I'm just like, that doesn't sound too far off to me. So,
Yeah, yeah. Uh
like, we did not land on the moon.
I won't say that. You want to know what you want? Actually, you want to know something crazy? And that's not crazy, but like, um, when my wife like said it to me yesterday, like it took me a second to like actually grasp that, because I don't remember us learning that in history class when it came to World War II. Um, World War II started in 1939, right? And so when do you think the Holocaust started?
Was never a good history student. I wouldn't have been able to tell you when the Holocaust started when I was learning about the Holocaust.
But if you had to guess, wouldn't you have guessed that it would have
Wait, let
been
me guess.
the
Let me
big?
guess. Let me guess. So again, I'm not good. I'm not big on history at all, and I should like just. I would say probably. I'm gonna base this because my grandfather was born in 1926 and he was in World War II, so probably 1949.
So no, the Holocaust started 6 years prior to World War II. So before we even went over there, it started in 1933.
33.
Yeah,
That's
like,
insane.
and when I thought about that, I was like, holy shit, that means for 6 years
You know
they
what
had been
though?
doing that shit,
That
and
makes
we
a
had
lot of
nobody had
sense.
no idea.
Well, because how could it? No, how would anybody know? You know,
Well, that's the thing
it was
too.
word
It
of
took
mouth
us
back
so
then.
long for us to get involved, because I think the only reason we got involved was because of them expanding their territory and trying to go in towards. Again, I'm not good at history, so I don't remember. But they were going to somewhere, and we didn't want them to,
I
and
think it was
so that's why we
Poland.
went over there. Yeah, that sounds right.
But yeah, it kind of just hit me like how much the world has changed now. Where it's like if something like that happened today, somebody would have pulled their phone out and put it. It would have been on the internet. You know. But
Yeah.
back then, it's like it was just like if it was happening, it was like word of mouth. Oh, it got over to us. Not word of mouth because there were still telephones and radios, but it wasn't like somebody saw a video of it happening. Like it was like we had to show up and be like, "Holy shit, this is actually happening."
Well, I mean, so that's another thing too, is that one thing that gave it like more like I want to say like spotlight is the fact that photographs were a thing at that time.
Yeah.
Well, they had I mean, they hadn't been there for a while, but they were able to actually photograph all of this stuff, and so like people couldn't, knock it and say, oh, this didn't happen or whatever, like how some conspiracies are, because there's no real proof and stuff like that, but there's
I don't think I've ever
definitive
heard
proof and all that shit.
anybody say that the Holocaust didn't happen. Other people? That would be a bit of a stretch, I would say.
No, there are, I don't know who they are, but there are people that have said and do believe that the Holocaust didn't happen.
That's insanity.
Yeah, no, those people are delusional, but they exist. With let's move on to another topic.
This Holocaust talk.
Yeah, enough of this Holocaust talk.
How do we spiral into that one?
I have no idea. Let me see what we got here. Did you see, are you on Twitter at all, or do you look at Twitter at all?
No, I got rid of Twitter a long time ago, and then I just never got it back.
So yeah, I got rid of it a long time ago too, and I think my wife created one for me, but I haven't gone on to it or whatever. But apparently Elon Musk is hilarious to watch tweet.
I've heard that too.
Especially, I guess he said something the other day to, I want to say, Taylor Swift, and I want to say it was explicit. Let me say, fine, Taylor, you win. I will give you a child and guard your cats with my life. Wait, what?
That's out of pocket. Did he really tweet that?
It's from his actual account. Yep, it says so. Oh my god, dude!
I saw an interview with him. He was
hilarious.
on stage, and he was talking about he wants to know if Saturday Night Live is really live. You ever hear this?
No,
So he's on
he did
stage.
not.
He was at something. He was speaking with a microphone with other people on stage, and he goes, "I really want to find out if Saturday Night Live is actually live." So we came up with a test to see if that's true. So he's like, "I'm gonna go on Saturday Night Live, and I'm gonna pull my cock out." And so if you're watching and you see my cock, you'll know that it's live. And I was like, this is not Elon Musk. This is a deep fake from
dude.
AI that is recreating. Like, it just,
my god.
who he is, like, as a person doesn't match up to the things that he says and does. Like, he is a super genius space. Like, he builds rocket ships and makes Tesla, like, came up with Tesla.
And he's got that whole satellite thing now or whatever.
He just says crazy things.
There was a dude who on social media was going viral because he was posting so he took a sailboat across either the Pacific or the Atlantic or whatever, and he was using the Starlink system to have internet like in the middle of the ocean, and so like he kept vlogging basically like his journey and shit like that. It was kind of interesting to watch. When I saw the first couple of videos, I told my wife, I was like, that dude's gonna die. But then apparently like those videos were like a couple months ago, and like he made it to land and stuff like that, so he actually survived. But I mean, taking a sailboat across the fucking ocean with just yourself and like only a certain supply of food, I mean, that's just insane to me. I
Yeah,
would never put myself I never put myself in a stupid situation as that. Like same thing as like with like have you ever seen those videos of like cave crawlers? Like people that
I
go deep
that's like
into
my two
cave
in the
crevices.
morning spiral in bed, like waste 2 hours more of my life. I always get into those, and I'm like, for some reason, I have to watch it, and like it's like a 40-minute video, and I'm locked in for the whole 40 minutes. Then it's three
Well,
in the morning.
especially
I'm like, fuck.
especially the ones where like they don't make it because you wanted to see like how far did they actually go.
Yeah, yeah. That would be probably one of the worst ways to die. Like you're
Oh,
stuck
that would be
underground,
my
wedged in the earth, and you can't move, and you just have to slowly fade away.
I couldn't imagine, especially because I mean, being upside down in general when having your blood rush to your head does not feel great. And then if
Yeah,
you end up like I watched one video of this dude who ended up upside down.
I think I know what you're talking about.
It's because the dumbass kept going past a point where you weren't supposed, like nobody had went to. And I mean,
That's
when you
how it
do
always
that, you're just
happens, you know.
yeah, that's
That's how.
you're just asking for
That's
bad shit to
just
happen.
yeah. And there's something about humans that just like
Our
yeah. But I'm
curiosity
I'm
kills
gonna
us.
I'm gonna go I'm gonna go check it out. So people will be like, "Don't do it. You're gonna die." Like, don't. And they're like, "Well, I'm gonna try it though." And they die, and then people are like, "Shouldn't have tried it."
It's the same thing with like the people
Free
who,
solo.
yeah, free scale like buildings.
Dude, so I got into rock climbing pretty hardcore a couple years ago. Like
I
I was
remember
going
seeing
like
your videos.
four or 5 days a week. It was awesome. I've never been stronger in my whole life. Like you build such like you could take a coconut and just crush it in your fingers. But you get to a point where I feel like you get so comfortable and confident with it that I could see like there'd be like easier routes at the gym because I went to an indoor gym. So there's like 40, 50 foot walls. And like some of the easier ones I was like I kind of want to just free solo this and just climb up it and climb down because I feel like there's no way I could fall. So like watching those free solo movies and documentaries, I get where because they're such high level where they've done these routes 100 times. They could like I remember Alex Honnold, the one guy from Free Solo. He did El Cap, that crazy mountain, so many times where he could sit in his van with a notebook and tell you each move in order all the way through. Like he had it memorized to
Jesus.
where he could close his eyes and visualize the entire climb. So
Wow.
yeah, it's just next level craziness.
But still, even with that, it takes one gust to win one mistake,
Oh yeah,
especially. Well, like when I was talking about like free scaling, I'm talking about people that like free scale building. Like there was
oh yeah,
one dude
yeah. Those
who
guys are
free
yeah,
scaled one skyscraper, and like the fire department like came and they were trying to go through the window to get to him, and he was like, "No, no, if you do that, I'm definitely gonna fall and die." He's like, "Don't do that. I'll meet you at the top. I'll meet you at the
yeah,
top."
yeah. No, that's true though. Alex Honnold had a great. He was in an interview and he was talking about how it feels as though it's important to do things in your life that cause danger, like dangerous things, having high amounts of fear. Doing those things once in a while is good for you because then regular life things that you come across, normal levels of stress, don't feel as intense as they would be without it. I was like, that's actually a good point, and it kind of like going back to like what I've done in my life, like I've always done a lot of things that I felt like were really scary for me to do, and I just did it. Like for example, like back when I used to do amateur kickboxing, getting in the ring was like so terrifying, and like getting through it and going through the whole experience was awesome. And by the end of it, you just feel like a different kind of human being. But I remember like around that time period, especially like a lot of things were going wrong with my family, and not that it didn't affect me, but I definitely still went through it. But I just like felt as though the stress of it wasn't that intense because I just had been introduced to things that were like way scarier than like real life stuff.
I mean, that is a good point. I mean, because if you know you if you're a person that is like an what do you call it, skydiving instructor, and you're constantly
Oh
doing
yeah,
that and stuff like that, like regular everyday stress won't feel the same like pull and
Right.
stuff like that, or EMTs or people that are like 911 operators, something like that. Like the intensity sometimes of those certain jobs can definitely relieve like other tensions at home or like other situations. Unfortunately, I'm not at one of those jobs. All my stress
Yeah.
just comes. But crap. Oh, excuse me.
He's good. He's going to West Tennessee. He's a sophomore now, which is insane. Seems like yesterday he was in first grade.
So what is has his voice changed?
Oh yeah, his voice dropped. He's taller than me.
No shit.
So out of me, so I have two brothers, so it's the three of us, and I'm the shortest. I'm the oldest, and I got the short end of the stick.
That's some
And
fucked up.
you know, that's just how it goes. But I think Michael's gonna be the tallest, and yeah, he's a grown boy.
So what is he getting into now?
He really wants to actually get into streaming. He's really good at video games. His goal is to like try and make some kind of career out of it. I told him like that's not bad to aim towards. Just have like other things in mind, because nowadays, especially, there's a lot of people that are trying to do that, and it's
I
it's
mean,
not that it's impossible.
there's also the fact that now there's college esports
What
courses
it's
and
at West
shit like
Tennessee
that.
now.
Oh,
It's in
they
high
have their
school.
own esports?
They have their own esports league after school, just like any other recreational sport.
No
Could you
shit,
imagine
dude.
back in the
What the
day? Yeah,
Yeah, what the
we would have
hell?
all been
Like,
in there.
oh my god.
Like one of
That's
the
one
games is
thing that I
Rocket
always
League.
say is that the things that the kids have now, like, well, I mean, granted, I don't like how how they structured like the high
Nope.
school and middle school now and the elementary school. I hate how they did that because it'll mess everything up. Now the middle schools aren't really the middle schools; they're just schools, and then certain ages go to where. But for high school, now they have things for esports. They have a lot more things for acting, for writing, for just like all the extra stuff that we all used to do on the side. They actually have brought into school now for kids, which is
Yep.
awesome. And I was actually recently doing a contest for work where like part of the contest was we had to choose a high school. I chose West Tennessee, and if I won, they were gonna get like a $15,000 grant for esports plus like new equipment and shit like that.
That's
Granted, I
awesome.
didn't win, but it would have been nice to reward them with that, especially with I can't believe it, but next year is gonna be our 10-year anniversary of high school,
Yep.
which is
10
gonna
Years
be
Gone by
interesting.
Led Zeppelin.
Fucking
It's
crazy, dude.
it's a blink of an eye, man. Yeah, I'm turning 28 in January. Although we're getting older, I feel like a lot of us, because of societal pressure, it's just like life has all these chapters, and it's like even though I'm 28 and I'm single, it's like I don't really worry too much. Like we're getting older, but we're not that old yet. Like we're still in our 20s, and the 30s are going to be even better.
Right. Yeah. Fucking and and I say to my wife, I'm like, I'm not that old, but she always calls me old too because my fucking knees, dude, my knees and my back. I don't know why, but ever since we got out of high school, not even that. Like I want to say like 2 or 3 years after high school, my back just started deteriorating. Like
Yeah.
it's so bad. I found out that I have scoliosis, so I'm gonna be dealing with that when I get
Oh
older,
man.
which is gonna be fucking terrible. And but yeah, like aches and shit like that. It's crazy the amount of like things that, and I mean we were the same way when we were kids, but my kids, the way that they get injured and then they just bounce right back after getting injured is
Oh
insane.
yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, my son falls, I want to say probably 6 times a day just on the floor because he's a very clumsy guy. He hasn't gotten his foot traction yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, nothing to worry about, dude. Being single at 28. I mean, especially, do you plan to stay around here or do you plan to move eventually?
Yeah. Hopefully, I mean, if everything goes to plan, I'd like to eventually run the company that I work for now. That would
Oh,
be the
nice.
ultimate goal. Yeah. So right now I'm the main guy at the company, and I'm just learning more and more every year. So eventually, that's the plan. Is I would take over that.
And then
Um,
are you planning on expanding it as well?
no, honestly, we don't advertise at all, and we're booked solid in the fall. And that this time of year is the busy season.
Well, that means you guys do a good job because I mean a lot of word of mouth.
Yeah, this is I think our 44th. Well, not I shouldn't say we. My boss has had this company for 44 years, which is like the longest running chimney company that you'll hear of. So it's
It's the
just
only chimney company I've heard of.
yeah, true. That's true too. That's true. I had a good point I was going to bring up. It slipped my mind.
Well, let's see what's happening today in news. Are you a big Oktoberfest person? Like, because I know Oktoberfest is coming up and stuff like that, and my wife mentioned that some place near here is doing like some kind of Oktoberfest thing, and she wants to go.
Yeah. I heard. I think in Albany, or even closer.
If it's in Albany, I ain't going.
Yeah,
That's way too far away from me.
I feel like a lot of places do October. Like Oktoberfest is originally from Germany. It's like a big beer festival.
And speaking of that, have you ever seen like the videos of the waitresses or waiters carrying the beer pitchers? It's insane.
Yeah.
And like very small itty bitty little girls just carrying 10 glasses at a time. I mean,
It's an art form.
It is. I mean, I mean, you were a waiter, right? At one point,
movie tavern.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So well, I don't know if you ever did it, but I was like one of the only few that could carry one of like the big trays with like a shit ton of drinks. I sometimes could carry 2 at a time.
Oh,
but
I never ever go for that. What?
The last time I did it, I ended up spilling it all over me. Like it just went all over me, and I was like, I'm never doing that again. And I actually kind of suspect that movie tavern is part of the reason why my back is fucked up because of the way that I was carrying and fucking overlifting and shit like that, and not really paying attention. That's another thing too. Growing up, you don't pay attention to all this shit.
Yeah, you just think you're gonna be okay.
Yep, you just think you're gonna be okay, and
it happens a lot at work, and now it's messing with my guitar playing, and I'm like,
yeah, with your guitar playing, have you do you get cramps in your hands and shit like that? Because I know, especially the way you have to hold it and stuff like that, depending on how long, how often you play and stuff.
Yeah, thankfully I haven't had too bad of injuries. I recently hurt my left hand, which is the left hand that does all the chord shapes and the hits the notes and whatnot.
Right.
And funny because we had a gig back in July, and 2 weeks before our gig is when I hurt my hand. And like the week up before the gig, I was like sitting there like, I don't think I'm gonna be able to even play. By the time the gig came, I was able to kind of modify took a couple more extra ibuprofens and just made it happen.
Pop a couple.
Yep, get real wacky that night. And but thankfully everything's fine now. Yeah.
What's the name of your band again?
So I'm in a cover band, and that's like the one that plays the most gigs out. Although we didn't really have many gigs this year because band problems. But one's called Sketched in Stone. We're on Facebook and Instagram. That's our cover band. So we play small bars, cover songs. It's fun. And then lately, I've been spending a lot more time with this other group, and we're writing original music. So the goal is to drop an album eventually.
Is that the one with Adam Cole, or is that the other one?
Yeah, so Adam Cole was originally in the cover band, and we just wanted to kind of get away from the covers. So we branched off and started this other group. And Matt, our bass player, is actually in both. So he plays bass and he does both. Really, the only difference is the singers now and the drummers. But anyway, this original band, we have a name, but we don't have any social media set up or anything out yet. But we're not sure about the name totally, but it's called Calling Cards. The tricky part about, at least for right now for us, is it seems like we can just like write a lot of music. Like we're not having a hard time like producing the music. We're having a hard time recording it and like mixing and mastering. And also we're having a tough time organizing it into, okay, these songs are going to go with this album or EP, and these songs it's hard to organize it all because naturally when we're writing music, they kind of have different, there's happy songs, there's sad songs, there's rock songs, there's like pop songs.
Right.
So it's been an interesting experienced
So
so
for like
far.
the albums, isn't there like doesn't the concepts for the album help a little bit with like differentiating between what songs go where and stuff? Because usually when people
Like the
like are
message behind the album.
yeah, usually like when somebody's creating like an album or like a mixtape or whatever, they have some kind of like idea or like even like a sentence or like whatever that they want to get across like throughout the thing or whatever. Like for instance, Hobson's album that he came out with, the last thing he came out with for like Funk Volume was more or less about like mental health and like the mental stability of being a rapper and going all these places and doing all this shit and doing nonstop shows and the reflection of it on his mentality and stuff like that. And it like reflected in a lot of the music and stuff.
Mhm.
But with because you mentioned band problems, like what type of band problems?
From my point of view, the most difficult thing is having a routine of practice. So even with four people, like, and four people is like, well, you can have like a trio band, but that's like rare. Uh,
Right.
People is like generally a guitar player, a bass player, a singer slash keyboardist, and drummer. So we used to have six people, and six people is like, you're not going to get everybody at practice. Once in a blue moon, you'll get all six. But even with four, it's the best way to go about it is like, okay, Thursday nights at 6 o'clock, we are here practicing. Bottom line, make sure you have that schedule clear. But there's always those people like, oh, my cousin's birthday is that day, and then I have to do this. I can't get away from it. So, and you got to think if if you're a band and you're practicing once a week, let's say you have a gig in 2 months. 2 months seems like, oh, we have plenty of time. But if you practice once a week for 2 months, that's 8 practices. So out of those 8 practices, if you're missing one person for two of them, you only have 6 real practices as a group. So then comes in, you miss a couple practices and the gig's coming and the time is
How long
going
are your
down.
practices?
It kind of depends on where we're at in terms of the gig. So like if we're 2 months out, we'll play for about an hour, hour and a half, really working on getting through songs, maybe half the set list. And then as we're getting closer to the gig, there'll maybe be 2 to 3 hour practices where we're just running through the entire set list as if it was a show. So we're kind of doing like a mock show as practice, just to like get the full experience, talking to the crowd, like
Right.
switching whatever you have to switch, whether you put a capo on, change the tuning, switch guitars. All those things come into effect. But
Right.
at the end, at the same time, what I tell everybody in my band is like everybody who's coming out to see us is coming out to see us. Like, so it's always like we want to do good, we want to sound good, we want to play good, but even if you make mistakes, it's not the end of the world. Like nobody expects us to be, Jimi Hendrix, or nobody expects us to be Motley Crue. It's like we are who we are, and we're humans. We're gonna make mistakes. That's gonna happen. So like, don't let that ruin your energy on stage if you make a mistake.
So are you the band leader?
Yeah, I am.
I
It's
can
always
see
it's
that
that thing though. Like,
because you have the mentality. Well, the only reason I say that is because the reason you said was scheduling. Like I understand that from my whole co-host thing, and like when it comes to like you have, if you're gonna do something, do it right. Don't
yeah,
fuck around with it, especially if it's something you enjoy and it's like, and you don't really consider it work. You consider it, having fun and expressing whatever skill or talent that you have.
yeah.
Then do that the right way. If you're not gonna do it, then just don't do it at all.
And what I've told everybody, like, if you don't want to do it anymore, that's fine. There's no hard feelings, but it'd be better
Exactly.
to bring it to my attention than to half-ass it. Like, if you're gonna do it, give it your all. If you're not with it, you don't want to do it, just say it. I'm not gonna
Because
be
you
mad
can
at you.
feel it in the music. I mean, that's the one thing with music. You can't half-ass music and then people not notice.
Yep, 100%. And at the end of the day, like, music is an art form. It should be fun. You should be enjoying yourself. If you're in a band and you're hating your life, like, you shouldn't be doing it. You shouldn't. Is it hard
Yeah,
work and does it take determination? Absolutely. Learning guitar was the most frustrating thing I've ever had to do.
I can imagine. I mean, I wanted to learn guitar once upon a time. I still probably might still learn guitar. I mean, I
You totally can.
was more into keyboards. Like, I like to learn covers and stuff like that. I was able to do, well, once upon a time, I was able to do a bunch of Post Malone songs and
That's cool.
a bunch of other things. But when it comes to knowing, so let me ask you this: how long did it take you to grasp like actual music notes and shit like that?
I
Like,
cannot read music,
okay.
so I play what's called tablature. I think that's how you say it. But
So what
tabs.
is that exactly?
So imagine like sheet music has it's called scales, where it's like the thing that
Yep.
the notes are on. I think it's called
Right.
scales.
The
Doesn't sound right.
lines.
Yeah, we'll say the lines. Tabs, rather than it being notes, it's numbers and the numbers represent which fret you're playing, and the string that the number is located on is which string you're playing that note on. So it's kind of in a way like a simplified reading music. Although in terms of covers, most of the time I just go on YouTube and I watch a lesson on YouTube. And it's funny because this is I didn't want to spiral too far into it, but so I'm in those two bands, and then recently I got an opportunity where somebody wants me to come out and play at their bar as a solo act or even like a duo acoustic thing, and I'm not
Oh,
opposed
awesome.
to it. Like I enjoy doing that. Like I play open mic nights pretty often, so um, I sat in my room the other day and I was like, I don't know what songs I would play, so I just wanted to write down all the songs I knew how to play, and I got to like 56 songs, and I was like, man, like I know how to play
Damn.
56 cover songs just from playing guitar through the years.
Do you have any like, original solo pieces of music that you wrote?
Oh yeah, I have music that I've written for myself and everything. Probably a good 20 to 25 songs. No, that's probably 15 to 20 songs. And then our band, we have like 25, 30 songs written. Just none of it's out, and that's our biggest curse. Is like we just have to get it out.
Do you guys plan, because one thing that the artists from We the Family label are doing, or that they're on their way to doing, is once they hit like 1,000 followers on TikTok, they're gonna be doing like live concerts and stuff like that, where people can donate and listen to like every Friday night and stuff like that.
That's cool.
Have you guys like considered going down that road, so that when it comes down to, that might, I mean, even though it shouldn't, but it might help with like people keeping up with practice and stuff like that, if they think that if they're working towards like something like that or whatever. Plus, I
Yeah.
mean, you guys could get your music out to a lot more people and stuff that way.
Social media does seem to be like the way that new bands get publicity. Through
Well, TikTok is huge for
yeah,
that,
it's
especially
huge.
if
It's
it's
huge.
if you just have like one good 15-second sound piece from your music, and it gets hit by a bunch of people that like to do a dance to it or whatever.
Exactly. Like that's I think our plan is we're gonna drop a single first, like whatever our best song that we think and we agree on. We're gonna drop our best song, and then we're gonna kind of spread it through social media, using it to make short reels and things like that to kind of promote it that way. But it's interesting because I've never done anything like this before. I'm just a self-taught guitar player, but
Right.
I just never stopped, and opportunities come up, and it's been good.
And like, what type of genre music do you guys write?
It's hard to put one genre on it.
So
There's
if you had
some like we go all the way from like some very soft acoustic songs to borderline heavy metal. Like it's that we write that wide. Like sometimes
so when it comes
I'm
so
playing real.
let me ask you this: when it
Yep.
comes to that,
Yeah, Adam definitely exclamates his voice.
so that's another thing too. I thought Adam was a rapper.
He is. So originally he was like his background is rapping. This man, I've never seen anything like it. Like I can be playing four chords, just not even just playing, and he'll just automatically his lyricism is unbelievable. Like I've never seen anybody just be able to just go blah. Like I try and write lyrics, and I have to sit there with a pen and cross things out, and he can just go and just put stuff on it. And it's from his rap background because he rapped, throughout his childhood and coming up through into his adulthood, and he's gotten it's just come so naturally to him that it's cool to see it now in a different genre, but it still comes to him. It's like lyricism is separate from being a rapper, being a singer. It's like if you're good at lyricism, like some people are just lyricists. They have nothing to do with playing the instruments or singing. They just write the lyrics. So some people have that, and I don't know what it is, but it's cool to see.
Like with Juice World, like how he was very unique and like he could just freestyle for like an hour without hesitation and stuff like
Yep.
that. It's well, you want to know what that is? It's a lots and lots of practice of freestyling over and over and over again. Because even when we used to do that in high school and we were smoked and stuff like that, eventually, like after a while, like, a few of us got decently go where we weren't like terrible and stuff like that. So like, it is possible to get decent at that stuff. You just gotta keep
Oh,
working at it and stuff.
dude, from everything that I've come to learn and get decently good at in my life, it's like it's always that same story. It's like people will be like, "How did you get this good at this?" And it's like from years of consistently doing it, like guitar, martial arts. Like from years of doing it, it's just come naturally that like, I'm at this point now where it's like somebody who doesn't do it, you're like, "Oh, you're good at this." But I really am a firm believer that no matter who you are, if you want to get good at something, if you do it with discipline and consistency, you have no choice but to get good at it. You can't do something for 10 years and just be bad at it.
Absolutely. Well, I would say that's 100% true. But Devin, with his rolling skills, he's been doing that for how long, and he still can't
But
get it right.
that's fair. But how often has he tried to get better, or is he just happy with the way that he does it?
He has his bong, yeah, you're right. Well, it's funny. The other day, I guess I'll just call it the dispensary that I go to, had a rolling contest that they asked me to be a part of.
Nice.
And so I did the rolling contest, and I hadn't rolled a joint in so long and hadn't eaten like at all that day. And so my hands were so shaky. And so when I was trying to do it, I was like, holy shit. I was like, there's no way I'm gonna be able to fucking do this. And so I just tried my best, fucking got what I could or whatever, and
They
put it
were like, "This
together.
is horrible."
Yeah, well, it wasn't terrible. They all smoked. They all smoked perfectly fine. It was just like, I know I could have done better because I learned from John. Like, I
Yeah,
know I
yeah.
can do better.
John sucks at rolling, though. I hope John watches this. And John, you suck at rolling. John doesn't smoke anymore. He's
What?
living in Texas. Texas is
Right? Yeah, they're.
well. That's
Well, I
not the
mean,
reason. He's doing it because he doesn't really feel the need to smoke anymore, which is fair. But
okay.
John, as we knew, like John was the biggest stoner of all stoners. He
Well, I
was the
mean,
lonely stoner.
that, and then another thing I wanted to shed light on a little bit is the fact, with us being the age that we are and the amount of people that we've already seen, pass in our lifetime is pretty insane.
Yeah. It's the list is unbelievably long, and not only with just people we went to high school with, but like just our friend group. We've had too many friends pass away before the age of 28. I
And
think
I want to say that it all happened within like a 4-year period, all of it.
it was like one a year. That's what it was. Every year, a new friend would die, and it was crazy. It's there's really no words for it, you know.
And this is gonna sound so stupid, but it made me really sad for some. Well, I guess I can explain the reason, but because uh our friend Zach, who was a huge Marvel fan and stuff like that, passed prior to Endgame coming out,
Yeah,
and it like hit me like right when it was like coming out and stuff like that. I was like, the accumulation of all the movies that we watched together and stuff like that,
yeah.
he's not going to be able
You
to
never saw the
take
ending.
part in that. And that killed me a little bit inside,
Yeah,
because especially, I mean, I saw Guardians of the Galaxy with him and a few other ones and stuff like that. And I mean, he got me into so many TV shows and shit too. Stuff that I still watch to this day. But yeah, but just want to hopefully, they're up there somewhere and, they see this podcast and they laugh a little bit.
yeah, man. It's precious, and whenever these things happen, it really opens at least my eyes, and I know others in the friend group that life is precious, and you never know when your last goodbye is going to be. So it's like even if you're if you're mad at your friend or you're mad at your family or whoever it is, you never know the last time. So it's like you're better off telling that person that you love them and give them a hug than it is to say fuck you and walk out the door, because bad things happen every day.
Well, yeah, I mean the world we live in is a very volatile place, especially right now at this time with everything that's going on across the seas with Palestine and in Ukraine and everything like that. Thoughts and prayers to everyone over there and stuff like that. I also heard like with that whole Palestine thing, there was a person that was like helping refugees or something like that. They went over there to help refugees, and they got caught in a drone strike and were sadly executed, which is insane. Like that's another thing that is new. I mean, new ish is drones and all this other newer types of warfare and stuff like that. But I remember hearing recently, like somebody joking that, like, I don't know why we just all don't get on Call of Duty and just face our problems on there instead, so that nobody dies. We just all kill each other virtually or something like that.
Yeah, people are bad losers.
That, well, yeah,
People
that's
gotta
true too.
die. You know, that's the shitty part about war. Really quick though, Jesse. So I'm in a little bit of a predicament. My laptop battery is at 23%, and the cord that I use to charge it is plugged into this interface for my microphone.
So we only got like 15 minutes left, so you should be good.
Okay, worst case scenario, if I just turn off, you know that my computer died, and you'll just have to close out the show without me. But
Okay, I got you.
we'll rock until that. I think we'll be fine for 15 more minutes.
Yeah, we should be good. Let me, because I didn't even realize what time it was. I have some questions that would be fun to answer. So let's see which one is the best. Okay, what's the weirdest thing you've ever eaten?
Went to my aunt's house, who's got remarried into a very hardcore Italian family, and he had cow stomach. It like chopped up, and they looked like they were like noodles. Imagine like what are like the big noodles? Penne?
Rigatoni?
Rigatoni sounds right. Yeah. Well, no. Doesn't matter that
Yeah.
much. The big, yeah, maybe
Okay.
it's rigatoni. Doesn't matter that much. So they were cut like that, and it was like he had them in a big pot with like pasta sauce, and like you look at it, and you're like, that looks like it's like pasta, but he's like, oh no, it's cow stomach. So he's like, you want to try some? And I was like 12. I was young, which doesn't change. I would try it today too, but I tried it, and it tasted like hay. Like it tasted like the food that a cow would eat, and it also
So
smelled like that too. It was not good.
you wouldn't eat it again?
I would, because, and this is the weird part about me, is like I never try something once and knock it. I don't even try something twice and knock it. Like, because
That's
they
interesting.
say your palate changes every 7 years. So like, there's
They,
people like,
I remember them saying that. I think that's bullshit because
I
my
don't
palate
know.
still has not changed.
Maybe though, I don't know. You know, when's the last time you tried something that you absolutely knew that you didn't like?
So
What is something that you won't eat because you don't like it?
Vegemite.
Never.
You ever have that?
No.
Oh my fucking god!
Is there
dude.
anything like more normal that everybody would know? Because I don't think.
Well,
anybody knows what that is.
okay. Well, Vegemite for vegetarians will know what Vegemite is. So Vegemite is this like brown-looking spread. It's like in a butter tin, and
But okay, but that's not a food.
you put it on toast and you eat it.
Oh, so it's like a margarine.
Yeah, it's not. I don't know what the fuck it is, but you taste it and you're like, this doesn't belong in this world.
That's
I don't know
fair.
where this is from.
Those kind of things. That's fair. But like, what's
But
like
as
a
far
course?
as like, yeah, as far as like an actual like course,
Like a type of fish that you don't like, or like
you want to know what?
Matt Yakino does. I don't know if we're just dropping last names. Matt doesn't like
Doesn't matter.
Matt doesn't like olives, and he doesn't like olives so much that he was trying to quit nicotine, and he said him and his girlfriend made a deal, like if I use nicotine, I have to eat an olive, and he would get violently sick from eating olives, and I was like, there's no way you get sick. So I watched him eat an olive once because he used nicotine, and he literally grabbed a trash can and projectile vomited. And I was sitting there like, grow up. Like, it is an olive.
Oh my
like,
god,
that should
dude.
not make you projectile vomit.
There was something not recently, but there was something my wife, it was either a drink or it was something that she was having, and I tasted it, and I immediately had to spit it up in the toilet. I can't remember what the fuck it was though. Babe, do you know what I'm talking about? You can't hear me. Well, other than that, one thing I'm thinking back is to Puerto Rico because that's where I most recently like got to try different things and stuff. Um, you want to know what? I won't eat eggs from like any hotel or anything like that. I won't eat eggs like out anymore.
Yeah, I've never liked that either. Do you like
Um,
store bought though, or do you like fresh farm?
no, I like making eggs at home when I make it,
Yeah.
and I taught my wife how to make it how I make it
I feel like the ones
with
in the
like
hotel come in the big bags as like a big liquid, and they just pour it in and just.
well that and then like sometimes the I remember when I went to Tennessee like a year and a half ago for a business trip, they had one breakfast morning, they had eggs and stuff in it. There was just no seasoning. It tasted like nothing. I was like, this is not this is not good. And
Yeah.
I didn't even eat breakfast. So yeah, I'd have to say eggs for that. Um the next question I got, if you could create a actually no, if what's
Having
the
a lot of fun,
strangest
man. Hope my laptop doesn't die.
we should be good.
It's getting
What's the
close.
strangest dream you've ever had that you can remember?
Technically not a dream, but maybe more interesting is I've had sleep paralysis a couple times, and that shit
Really?
is wild. You ever had it?
Heard.
You never had it?
No,
I thought it was
I've never
not real for a very long time, and it was back probably 5 years ago or so.
So explain for people that don't know what goes on with sleep paralysis.
Yeah, so my best explanation of sleep paralysis is when usually you're very tired, very stressed, and your brain and your body are exhausted, and you go to lay down to go to sleep, and your body falls asleep, but your mind stays awake. So, from my personal experience, and then once that happens, like your body falls asleep and your brain stays awake, you open your eyes while this is happening, and you are not dreaming. Like you can see your bedroom, but you cannot move your body at all. Like you're paralyzed. That's where it comes from. So, from my experience, what happened was I was laying down and I was falling asleep, and I remember like feeling this like, and I had done like a little bit of research on sleep paralysis, so I like had a few tricks to try, I guess. And I felt like I was like, it's really indescribable to explain it to what it is, but it felt like I was like falling slowly. Like we've all had that time where we're going to sleep and we fall fast and we're like, whoa. But it
Right.
was like more of like a drifting kind of
Like
thing,
if you were
slow.
sinking.
Yeah, and then when I felt that is when I knew something was going on. So right at that moment I opened my eyes, and then I was in it. Like my body, I couldn't move. And the first time was not like nothing, but I really fought it. I was like, I was like trying to move, and I was like, and eventually, like I just came out of it. And so I was like, whoa, like that was insane. So like a week went by, and I was like, the whole time, like I have to do that again. Like that was so weird. Like I really want to see what that was like again. And the second time, I'll never do it. I never want to go back and do it again because. So I'm doing the same thing. I'm falling asleep, and I feel this sensation, and I'm like, all right, it's happening, and like I'm like, all right, and I get to this point. My bedroom light is still on, and I was living with John at the time. He's still out in the living room, like watching TV. And I open my eyes, and I can't move. And then I hear from like under my bed, like children laughing, and like, but it was so real and like so distinctive that like I got so scared. Like I was like oh my god, and I can't move, so like I can't check like what's under the bed. I can't call like John. I can't do any of that. So I'm just sitting there like, and these kids are like, ah, da, 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 and I'm sitting there like, this is so scary right now. And eventually,
That's
like,
actually what I was gonna mention. I was like, usually people have hallucinations when they have
yeah,
sleep paralysis.
yeah, yep,
Whether it be usually people have described seeing like a black figure over
yeah.
their
They say
bed
they're
or something
sleep
like that.
paralysis demon.
Yeah, or something along the lines of that. But I mean, that sounds so. Thank God I have never had that, but that seems very fucking scary.
Yeah, I avoided it now at all costs. That was enough. I was like, okay.
The only thing I get like while sleeping is like you ever get like restless muscle like I don't know why I say syndrome, but like it
Like a
it's
twitch
basically where
almost, like a
yeah, it's
muscle
like you have a
spasm.
yeah, like like your muscles start twitching or whatever. And I've found it's usually because I have to go to the bathroom. That's usually what it ends up being. When I go to the bathroom, it goes away. It's a very weird thing. But yeah, other than that, I haven't had any weird sleeping things. As far as dreams, so when it comes to strange, there's one specific dream that always pops into my head, and it happened a very long time ago. It's very weird that I remember this that long ago. But and there's a funny thing that goes along with this. So I want to say when I was like 5, 6,
I just got
somewhere around
the
there.
low battery thing.
Okay.
It's probably gonna shut down.
This will be the last story. This will be the last story,
all
and
right.
then we'll end it.
I hate to rush you, man. I'm having a great time.
No problem, no problem. We'll have you on again. So we went to a friend of my dad's house, and for the longest time, I never knew if this was real. I never knew if we actually went to this place, if this happened, if I had this dream. I thought maybe it was all a dream. And I kept asking my mom, like year after year. And eventually, when I described it like a certain way, she finally was like, "Oh wait, yeah, we did go to like your dad's friend's like camp for like a weekend or something like that, and you spent the night." And I was like, "Okay, that's what happened." So I had this dream there, but the dream was, so the way my basement goes is there's a door to my kitchen, and you go down these one part of stairs, and then you turn right, and then you go down the rest of the stairs. I had a dream that the mask from Jim Carrey's The Mask was in my basement, fucking shit up. But instead of having the goofy voice that he had a very deep, menacing voice. And then I remember turning the corner, seeing him down there, and then him doing the spin thing, and then coming up the steps towards me, and then that's all I can remember. And then I remember waking up to like a bed that wasn't mine, and I was so confused and stuff like that. But as far as weirdness, that's probably the weirdest one I had. But I mean, probably had way weirder one. I mean, we've all had the falling out of an airplane. Have you ever had like drowning ones?
I had a lot of dreams that I can breathe underwater. So
Really?
never drowning, but like I'll be underwater and I'll go breathe in like I have gills, like, but it feels like I'm breathing underwater, and it's so awesome. So every time I'm like, this is fucking awesome.
So I've never had that, but I've had where like I've gotten shot and like I don't necessarily feel the pain, but I feel pressure when the bullets hit me. That's the weirdest thing. Or like when I get stabbed or something, and like I get stabbed and shot a lot in my dreams. I've just realized that now.
Maybe that's
I don't know
something.
why that is. I guess I'm just not good at dodging them. But all right, we're getting towards the end of this, and before Ryan's laptop dies, we're gonna sign off, guys. The next podcast episode we'll have Chanel Nicole on, rapper from We the Family music label. She's also coming out with new music every day, so check her out on TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube, Chanel Nicole. And don't forget to check out Ryan's band again,
Stone and calling cards.
And Sketch and Stone does have a Facebook, right?
Yep, and Instagram. And if you're in Syracuse, I'll be playing around at open mic nights and maybe a solo gig. So keep an eye out.
So keep an eye out for that, guys. Make sure to check him out because he's talented, and I know some of the few other bandmates, and they're very talented as well. So definitely check them out. Again, this is Raw and Roasted Podcast on YouTube and Spotify. Make sure to like, follow, subscribe, do all that good stuff. And I'm in the works of creating merchandise and stuff, so eventually that'll be down the road for people to purchase. So keep tuned out for that. Other than that, guys, have a good rest of your night.
Jesse, thanks so much, man.
Thank you, Ryan, for coming on.
Thanks. Bye.